Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be looking for all kinds of different trains in New York City. And the first place we're going to stop by is called the Red Caboose. It's a hobby shop which has been open in New York for 71 years. Before you even walk in through the front door, you can just tell that they've got a lot of equipment here. They have everything from G scale to Z scale, and in just about every paint scheme you can imagine. They've got trains from all around the world and all different types of locomotives. Although this might not be the biggest store I've ever been to in terms of square footage, they certainly make up for it in terms of the amount of everything that they have. I mean, this place is literally just wall-to-wall model trains. They've even literally got trains hanging from the ceiling, so it's a pretty wild place if you're into model railroading. Anyways, starting with this first shelf, they had a whole bunch of American locomotives, the majority of which were steam engines made by IHC or Mantua, although they did also have this Rapido Turboliner set and a couple of Bachmann Plus GS4s. Just above that, they actually had some old model power equipment and a few die-cast locomotives. The next shelf contained a little bit more in terms of new-in-the-box equipment. There was also a couple starter sets hanging from the ceiling, and then the third shelf had a variety of locomotives and model airplanes. And just below that, they had something which really caught my eye, a whole bunch of old different train parts. I didn't end up finding anything in here I was personally interested in, but this certainly could be helpful if you were looking for something in particular. They also had a variety of Walters kits, and then over here they had what the owner referred to as the Mega Millions shelf, and all of the pieces of equipment in here are apparently worth more than $1,000. It's all brass and die-cast stuff. Really fancy equipment, and there's quite a bit of it, as you can see too. Just to the right of the Mega Millions shelf, they had a whole bunch of post-war Lionel equipment, mostly steam locomotives, although amongst them there was the Hogwarts Express from Harry Potter, which I really did not expect to see. They had a few O-scale buildings kind of here and there, as well as some O-scale subway cars. This next shelf here was comprised mostly of Z-scale stuff made by Markland Minitrix. I don't find Z-scale is super common in the hobby, so it was nice to see some here. They also had no shortage of different N-scale locomotives. As you can see, they had quite a few F units. They even had some European N-scale locomotives, which I find here in North America is very uncommon to see, and the variety was excellent on that too. In terms of HO used Athearn locomotives, they had shelf upon shelf, which just seemed to be packed with them. Then they also had some German HO locomotives, as well as some German rolling stock. A whole bunch of different brands here. Again, this is stuff that you usually do not see here in North America. In terms of model trains, I had a lot of fun looking through this store, but the search for trains in general was not done yet, so we headed down to Grand Central Station, and this place is just gorgeous. I've been here once in my life before, and I've got to say I was just as impressed the second time. Anyways, we headed down some random platforms to look for trains, but what I really was not expecting to see was two heritage units. Hey, look! Units. Two of them. This is the one I have in O-scale 229. It might be the same one we saw. So as you can probably tell, I was very excited to see both of these locomotives. It's not every day you get to see a heritage unit, let alone two at the station. But specifically 229 was of interest because back in December of 2013, I actually saw this exact locomotive here at Grand Central Station. And me and my father were hanging out around the front of the locomotive that day. And the engineer asked what we were doing. You know, he said, "You can't board the train here." And we explained that we were just rail fans. And they actually let us up into the cab of this locomotive, and I was able to sit in the driver's seat. Certainly a once-in-a-lifetime experience, which I doubt today would ever fly. It probably wasn't even allowed then, but it was just amazing to get to see this locomotive in person again, as well as another New Haven heritage unit. Anyways, that about wraps it up for the trip to New York, but there is a certain giveaway which I've been meaning to do for a while now, so let's get to that. Well, I'm now obviously back home here in Canada. The trip to New York was just incredible. It's such an exciting city. Me and my family were actually down there to see Billy Joel in concert, which was an amazing experience. And as far as trains go, I didn't end up buying anything, but seeing Grand Central Station for a second time was amazing. And checking out that train shop was pretty cool too. Now, moving on to the giveaway, it's been a little while, but some of you might remember I did a video about a month ago where I unboxed some Rapido Christmas mystery boxes, and at the end of that video I promised I'd give away 2 DCC equipped locomotives, and there's a bit of a reason it's been so long. You might notice that I've got a box here which was not included in either of the mystery boxes, and basically what happened is that when I did that video I was having some problems trying to get the locomotives to start, and some people said that that was a startup procedure, but whatever the case was, on DCC power some of them just would not move. Now once I gave them DC power they fired up and then would work on DCC, but without the DC power they were having problems. Now since then most of them have been mostly fine, but there have been a few instances where they've had that same issue reoccur, and it personally doesn't bother me. I've got a toggle switch, so I just give them a bit of DC power and that fixes them. But this has been the only one which has reliably started on DCC. So I decided to go and order up a replacement unit, because I did promise I was going to give away 2, and I don't want to be giving people things with problems, so this is an identical unit with DCC sound. It's the maroon paint scheme here, so we'll test this one out. Hopefully it won't have that issue, and then we'll pull some names out and we'll figure out who gets this engine and who gets the Go unit. Let's unbox this. It looks like this one incurred a little bit of damage in transit, but that's okay, we'll get it fixed up. But first, let's take this thing over to the track and test it out. So for this test, I'm not going to be touching the DC controller. I'm only going to be using DCC to prove that this thing is in proper working order. So let's get it on the track here. Okay, that already seems promising. Let's test it out. Okay, very good. It had me concerned for a moment there, but it's moving. So that seems to be in tip-top shape. Now let's test out the Go unit again just to show its working order. So there you have it. Like, that operation is normal. You know, if it takes like 5 seconds to start moving, that is the startup procedure. But the problem I was having with some of the other engines is that you would hear the decoder, the soundboard, you know, revving up, but the locomotive wouldn't move even though the decoder was indicating it was at wide open throttle. But both of these seem to be fine, so I feel pretty good about giving these away. Now let's fix that horn and then we'll draw some names. That's good. The plastic standard wasn't broken off. I think that it just needed a bit of glue just to make sure it actually, you know, stays in place. So that should be solid from here on out. Now let's find out who this thing is going to. Okay, we've got a YouTube comment picker all loaded up here. I'll just quickly pop the URL in and we'll fetch a comment. I'm going to remove replies just because that's mostly just going to be me responding to people. So anyways, let's let it load up. You guys certainly did not kid around. 400, 500, and yeah, 545 unique comments. Now let's find out who's the lucky one. And Stephen Chambers, 6174. Hi, Harrison. They were amazing mystery boxes, so gorgeous. I have never heard of the concept down here in Tasmania. You certainly got your money's worth. Love watching your videos. Cheers, Steve. Well, congratulations, Steve. It looks like this unit right here is going to be going to you. Now let's find out who won the Go unit. So I'll just reload this. And I'll just do the same thing again here. This is so exciting. And CJ's Trains and Adventures 3322. My son and I enjoy watching your videos. We're just getting started in model railroading. Well, it looks like you're off to a very lucky start because you've just won this Go unit. Well, folks, I think that's going to be about it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. I certainly had a lot of fun, both with the trip to New York as well as hosting the giveaway. I'll probably do another giveaway in the next few months, so please stay tuned for that. Just a quick disclaimer, please beware of scams in the comments saying you've won and you need to pay shipping. That's completely bogus. I don't charge anything for these giveaways, so please just keep that in mind. I've never shipped anything as far as Tasmania, Australia, mind you, so that's going to be a first for me, but I'll be sure to cover off the expenses to get that locomotive to the winner and ship the other one out as well. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching.